Okay, good
Okay,
morning,
good
Christopher.
morning.
I'm Betty. I'll be doing this part of the interview with you for this full-time position we have as Director of Sales and Marketing. So if you'll have a seat, we'll get started.
Thank you.
Okay. Christopher, tell me what you would like me to know about you.
Well, most notably, I am this year's Harmon's Associate of the Year, year 2014. And what that means is I've been picked out of the entire company, all 16 stores, every associate that we have. I am the one who embodies all the values and ethics of the company. That was awarded to me at the beginning of this year. And in that, I believe that it represents my, all the skills and qualities that I express on my resume fully, because this award is indeed a measurable amount of that work. And so that's really the biggest thing career-wise that's happened to me lately, which is, I think, quite nice.
Oh, well, more than nice. Yeah, excellent. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah. And good work. So,
Yes, thank you.
okay, Christopher, let's pretend we've switched places and you're sitting over here
Sure.
interviewing people like yourself who would like to be considered and hired for this position. So share with me the type of person that you would be looking for, that things they'd have to have going for them to be
Right.
successful in this position. For example, what should their personality be like? What are some skills, abilities, talents, experience, that type of thing they should
Absolutely.
have?
So for this position in particular, for Cafe Ibis, the core of their business is artisan roasted coffee.
Okay.
So somebody would need to drink coffee, first of all. I mean, to be a habitual drinker, not somebody who drinks it for the energy, as a crutch, but somebody who drinks it for the product. I know that Cafe Ibis puts crazy amounts of work into their product. They're triple certified, 3 different independent organizations. They run a very small, tight operation, and so for somebody to not drink that coffee and try to market it, try to get sales from that, it'd be a little tough. Somebody would need to be very worldwide aware. Coffee is a very worldwide business. It deals with growers, producers, like I said, third-party organizations, and then you locally as well, your local coffee drinkers. These people all interact with each other, and you need somebody who is not, blind to that fact. And there are many steps in that process. You need somebody who is very aware of the modern state of coffee. Coffee now is in a place where it's never been. The focus this year at the SCAA, the Specialty Coffee Association of America's conference up in Seattle, this year focused a lot on the relationship between drinker and grower. Not so much the barista, not so much the cool ways to make coffee, but who in fact is growing the coffee, how that affects their life, and how you as a consumer directly affect that person's life, wherever the coffee's grown. Somebody will also have to know what's going on in Ibis right now. They've recently gone through a pretty major shift in direction. Their founder, Randy Worth, sadly at the beginning of this year was killed in an auto accident. He was hit on his motorcycle by a drunk driver, and him, Randy, and his wife Sally have been spearheading their company since the 70s. And so somebody right now in the company would need to really help motivate everybody to kind of keep their core values and just keep pushing it like Ibis has been doing for the past 40 years. And so that's also looking to the past as well. We can see what Ibis's values are, what they can be. And I think that would be just phenomenal for somebody in this position.
Okay, great. Good homework on your part.
Thank you.
All this.
Thank you.
Okay, so a little bit deeper into that previous question, share with me 2 things that will be easy for you, or 2 aspects of the position, as you know the requirements to be, that will be easy for you to slide right into and pick right up on if you were hired.
Absolutely.
And then what will be 2 things that will be challenging for you if it might be just when you first start?
Sure. So as Director of Sales and Marketing, you'd be working at Cafe Ibis, the warehouse. They have a cafe on Main Street in Logan, but the warehouse is a little bit farther down the street. And in there you have your sales associate, you have your roasters, and you have your other members of the company, a creative team and things like that. And in my past, in my history with Ibis, I've worked with everybody there. I've spent a day with the roaster. I've spent a day with their creative director. He's come to our coffee shop and we've spent the day, testing out products, tasting things, learning about things. And this is a relationship I've had with Ibis for 3 years, 3 full years. And so I know exactly, how their roasting process is done, even down to what rooms they're done in. And I know what things look like in there. I know what they smell like in there. I know who people are when I walk in already. Even though I don't work for the company, I know everybody there. So, on the personnel side, walk right in, shake hands with people, say, hey, what's up? Instead of saying, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Chris. I've already got a fairly good rapport with everybody there. Secondly, like I said, I am greatly aware of their products. I've been brewing and drinking and selling them for 3 years. I could tell you how best to do certain blends, how different brew preparations to do with them as well, where they've come from, how they're roasted, and what to pair them with as well. Just outside of just other coffees, you can do them with food, you can do them with sweets. So I'm very well versed in their product line as well. Two hindrances, perhaps, is that they are a smaller company. It really is just one warehouse and one coffee shop. They are, they ship globally. They're in a lot of coffee shops on the Wasatch Front. So the hindrance there would be that they don't have as many resources as I would be used to in the company that I am now. So it'd be quite a bit more do-it-yourself, a little bit more, stick-to-itiveness. And then secondly, it's, somebody else's baby. It's, I'm coming in from the outside. I haven't been, directly involved with the direction of Ibis. And so there would be a little bit of a learning curve there as well to see what forward-thinking ideas that they have currently going on that I would have to, assimilate myself into. So that would be the second kind of spot.
Good, thank you. Okay, Chris, you're in the field of communication, so share with me an experience that you had where you gave directions or instructions to an individual or a group of people, and you asked if they understood, and they did the head bobbing thing, yes, we got it type of thing. And so you went your way thinking, okay, that's taken care of. And then a day or two later, by what transpires, you learn that they didn't get it, like you needed them to in that sense. So a little bit about what your situation was,
Sure.
and then what did you conclude about what needs to take place for effective and good communication?
Sure, absolutely. So as my time as a barista for those 3 years, which you talk about in the resume, we at our store, we were brand new, state of the art, and so what we would do is invite local bloggers to come in, foodies of the area, people who really could make or break your name, your service, your people. And what we would do is I, as a lead barista, would take all 7 or 8 of them at a time, as it were, and take them behind the counter and really go through our entire operation with them. Where I was working at Harmon's, we don't do things normally as people do. Harmon's is, slogan is, we're not normal, we're Harmon's. So what I would do is take them behind the counter, go through the basic steps of, who we get our coffee from, why we get our coffee from them, how we've developed that coffee relationship. Their blends, coffee blends at Harmon's that you can't get anywhere else. Why is that important? How is that important? Why don't you see that other places? I take them through how to do the coffee, how to brew, just drip coffee, which in itself is not as simple as people think. There's some stuff to it. And then also the espresso-based drinks. You have this huge machine. It's got steam and spouts and knobs. It can be pretty intimidating when you walk into a coffee shop. But when you learn how to grind the coffee, how to prepare it in the best way possible with the best product possible, it's a very interesting, very hands-on, and very very spirited action because you're moving stuff and you're turning knobs and steam's coming out, and so it's a very visual production, but there's a lot of science that goes into it as well. So not only are you talking about the service of the product, but you're talking about the science of the product. So you have to be very aware of, temperatures and weights and chemicals and stuff. And so after that, I would invite somebody to make a coffee. To say, now that I've broken it down, now that you're not so intimidated by this, you feel comfortable with the product, let's have somebody go ahead and make a shot of espresso. And they would. And they would say, oh gosh, well that is nice. That is fun. Being a barista is more than just, wearing an apron, working at Starbucks or something. It really is a great hands-on work. And then these people would go out and they'd write up their reports, and that would be your measure of success. To see on their live blogs, on their Instagrams or whatever, how well did you do? How well did you represent yourself? And they were all positive. They were all really good.
Okay. So what did you conclude then there with what is required for good communication?
Good communication is straight talking. Is saying, this, it seems scary, but break it down into all its constituent parts. You can handle it. Anybody can handle it. And so I would think that in communicating with anything, whether it's buying a car, going to a restaurant, just talking with a friend, you take the big idea, you work through it, you break it down.
Okay, good. Okay, Christopher, team is a worldwide concept.
Right.
It exists, and so albeit we don't have a big team, but we nonetheless, function as a team here. And so, share with me an experience that you had with a team that was not functional. It just didn't work well for whatever reason, and it could have been in a workplace situation or in one of your classes, whatever. So a little bit about what the situation was, and there'll be 3 parts of this. So define what your experiences were with a dysfunctional team, and then had you been team leader, what would you have done to bring the team to a working, cohesive group, that would meet its goals, and then what is your overall philosophy? Why do we do teams? That type of thing.
Right, absolutely. So it's a very recent experience. It's a very fresh wound, as it were. Last semester, I was taking COM 3590 or something, gender communications, and the big project for this class was to present as a group, as you were assigned to, undergraduate research to the undergraduate research symposium, which was held here, and you would get up in front of a crowd and present your research. It was a little daunting, as it were, because you had to get your research approved, all your research methods approved, and then really present original research, which to an undergraduate is a little bit frightening 99% of the time, especially on issues of gender. Right? This was a very interesting class in that way. And so what we did is we were assigned a group. There was myself, 1, 2, 3, and 3 other students. There was a group of 4 of us, 5 including myself, I suppose. And so what we were to do as a group, we decided, is to cross-examine TV shows from the 60s and then from the 2010s, I guess you'd call them, and look at them through the seeing glasses of third wave feminism, which was the wave of feminism our textbooks described we were in now. So it really was a lot of work. We had a lot of material to go through, and a lot of observing and just generating and cultivating this research. We had a whole semester to do it. Thankfully, our teacher gave us that time. What had happened, though, is an extreme case of fallout. We had one student have a death in the family.
Wow.
and that took him right out.
Mm-hmm.
We had another student have her home and property broken into, so she was dealing with that. We had another student take her second honeymoon during the time of this research, 2 weeks in Hawaii. Woohoo.
Yeah.
And we had another student who was a track athlete who was gone a lot. You know, we had no idea any of this would happen, save for the track athlete.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that in a second. But everybody else had these, happenstances. And that made getting the research, preparing the research, practicing the research, and presenting the research very difficult. With that being said, the track athlete, we knew he was a track athlete, so we gave him work that could be done not on site. So that was a calculated risk. What had happened on the day of the presentation at the symposium in front of people is that our track athletes failed to get the time off from his job. So, and he was our tech, visual audio guy. So we all had to shift our positions, take on added responsibilities 5 minutes before the symposium.
Wow. Okay.
But we pulled it off. It was great. It was entertaining. We presented our research. People found it very interesting. Our name was in the booklet that they give people who come, so it was really cool to see your name in print and see your research in abstract. And we got a passing grade. I believe it was an A on the project, so that was good. The teacher took into account everything that happened. So that was kind of the bad part. As team leader, if there was one in that group, I would have pushed for more, I guess, cloud-based collaborations. We had a lot of class time to work on stuff, and I don't think we took advantage of that as much because we didn't have everybody in class who, could have contributed more if they were there. We did do a lot on the program Google Docs, live editing, cloud-based Word software where you can, add documents and add links and really share and talk with people in real time, which was good because, people were off at, different parts of the country at some times. So as team leader, I would have really pushed for more, mobile, on-the-fly, cloud-based communication, which, couldn't have done anything for the circumstances, but could have really utilized our time better, more better, I guess.
Okay, great. Yeah, you've had some real adventures in life. Yeah. And we all get them. If we don't have them now, then
Absolutely.
they're getting stored.
Yes.
kind of will happen that way. Well, you have an engaging personality, but share with me the last time that you had to work with a difficult person. They're always all over the place.
Right.
So a little bit about what your situation was and how did you handle it. And it doesn't have to have a happy ending where you're skipping arm in arm down the hall with
Right.
studies.
Yeah. So I did my Weber State required internship 2 semesters ago for Harmon's. A position opened up at the Station Park store in their cooking school. So up on the second story, there's a full functioning, huge, Food Network sized kitchen with 4 stoves, cameras, big seating table. It's a real classroom. And we have a dedicated chef and a dedicated coordinator. And it's a 2-person team that run that whole operation. 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, save for Christmas, And what they do together, the chef and the coordinator, is they are given free reign of that piece of the property. They decide how to do classes, what classes to do, when to do them, how many people to let in, how often do you do those classes, as well as do private events for companies, groups, and that's coordinating with those people outside the store, getting them in, and really giving them just a stellar experience. You have that chef for 2 hours
Mm.
to give you a whole lesson, 3-course meal. You work through everything. You make stuff from Thai, Indian, Italian, Mexican, grilling, frying, pan searing. I mean, the whole works. That's what we do there. And I had an opportunity to intern as the coordinator. And this is another storied tale of real life strikes. The woman I was interning with, my coordinator supervisor, went on maternity leave a little earlier than expected before I could finish my internship. So what had happened was her position, even though it wasn't officially mine, fell to me after only 2 weeks of training. So that was fine. I felt very comfortable in the program. I knew how to work the computer, the scheduling, the website. And then our chef had to go on maternity leave, rather unannounced. So we had the company brought in a substitute chef. All of our other chefs in the program were busy in previous engagements, so they couldn't really commit to a 6-week stint, as it were. So we had to pull from a different cooking school company down in Salt Lake, the Viking Cooking Institute. This was a chef that I had to work with, who was not, nearly as familiar as I with the culture of the company we were working for, even where things were in the kitchen there. It was a brand new kitchen, huge kitchen, like I said. And she was rather stressed out in the whole situation because she lived all the way out in Utah County and had to drive all the way to Farmington. So she was a bit frazzled. Well, what turned out in the course of our 6-week adventure together is that she wasn't a people person. She really didn't turn out to be that kind of, Food Network star that we were hoping for. She was a good chef. She knew all her ingredients and how to do all the stuff, but she really just wasn't a beaming, bubbly personality that we need to really market that cooking school to our audience. And the whole point of the cooking school is to say, look at all these great things you can make with our products that you can buy downstairs. She just really wasn't fit for that. Great in any other position she would have done, but in that instance, a little rough around the edges. And so I was tasked with kind of trying to get her in that program. She was it's probably about a 35 year age gap between us, and there was a little bit of resentment on that part because I was so young. I was 22 at the time, and so she didn't really see me as an authority figure, especially because she was a accomplished chef. She'd gotten this executive position, and here I was an intern. But I was still trusted with keeping the program alive and running and profitable. And so in that way, mostly we butted heads. We came with a lot of, what do you think kid type of things. In the end, she did take a position, again, outside the company, which worked better for her, which was closer to her house down, like I said, in Utah County. But really, that was an experience of learning, just because you wear the tie and the, title does not mean at all that somebody's going to listen to you. You really kind of got to work with them. Face to face. Sometimes really get into the meat of the issue. You can't just be like, oh, hey, next time could you? You have to be like, next time you need to. And with, 2 people in these positions, butted heads, absolutely, but very interesting learning experience. Really getting to know how to deal with people like that.
Okay, good. Wow, what a trial. How
Yes.
did the cooking classes go? Did they, function effectively under?
Thankfully, to toot my own horn a little bit, yes.
Okay.
I was able to keep her on track. Like I said, she wasn't, indoctrinated into the program as much as she could have been. She didn't have all the training she needed because it was a very quick turnaround situation. So at times, live in class, I would have to gently remind her, where the direction of the class needed to go in a timely manner, as well as keep, all. Sometimes we would have, 16 to 18, 20 students in the class. Keep them in line, keep them focused in times of, sometimes the recipe takes a little longer. Sometimes you got to cook something, especially baking, takes a little time, and so keep them engaged, entertained, and really facilitate a relationship between the student and the instructor, the chef. So yeah, that was interesting.
Yes. Okay. Share with me a significant school or work accomplishment that you achieved just in the last year or so, and how did you do it?
Absolutely. So I used already the experience of presenting at the symposium as that original research, and I won't bore you with that again. I will regale you with another tale of undergraduate research I did in the same semester. So it was quite the busy book semester in my COM 4950, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was advertising, the advertising class. And what we were to do in that class is, again, get into a group, find a actual business in the Wasatch area, and provide for them a marketing strategy, top to bottom, full service, as if we were going to implement it. And if they liked it, they could implement it, which would help your grade quite well in the teacher's eyes. So myself and 3 other students partnered with a online fashion company here just in Farmington, Kaysville area, who focused a lot on kind of fine accessories and jewelry that one would wear to tie and dress and cufflink engagements. And so what we did is we used the tools that we had to learn about all of their sales that they have currently, all of their geographical data, all of their consumer data. There are programs that we had access to that would allow us to view that, to take that information, all these numbers, all these figures, all this map data, and transform it into a few slides, essentially, plain English, to the company that says, right now, 2015, here you are. Here's who buys from you, here's where they buy, here's how much they have to spend, here's why they spend. That was the first part of it. Second part of it was actually developing and possibly implementing a marketing campaign in ways of video, audio, visual, and one-on-one flyers and such like that. And we were able to do all that within a semester, all 4 of us working together. It was just full on everything that a small business could ever want from the team that we had. And I'm pretty sure now that they've kind of used some of those tactics, not all of them, we were just a volunteer organization to them, really, but we gave the company just a lot of their own data that they never knew that they could have had. It really opened up their eyes as a small business. And gosh, it was so fun working with those high fashion products, working with all that data, and really presenting it to somebody who it could affect their livelihood. And that was really fun. That was a good semester-long project. That was really enjoyable. Really made me know that I could do this. I want to do this. And I'm good at it.
Okay, good. Okay, Christopher, this type of work is exciting. I don't think we have very many dull moments, whatever, and people that we work with. It can also mean stress, So share with me the last time that you felt stress coming on. How did you manage it? And then were there things that you turned to after you get out of that situation, hobbies, activities that you do at home to totally disseminate it.
Sure, absolutely. So, in the time that we were transferring from chef to chef, in that period of the internship that I was speaking of, we had kind of a fill-in guy, a guy from our downstairs kitchen who had an impressive resume, but was not trained as an executive chef. I mean, he could been working as a chef his whole life, so he could work in a kitchen, but he wasn't really that, like I said, Food Network personality we were looking for. Just the culmination of skill and personality. And what had happened one day is that he was frustrated with, I believe it was a work schedule or a customer comment that somebody had left for us. And the night before a class, a full class, he threw his hat on the ground. He said, "Thanks, but I'm out of here." There were some other adult words said in public. I mean, this guy exploded, really. And I was in uniform, and people knew that we were associated together. So I had to calm that situation down at first, have him just go, have him just do whatever he needs to do. But immediately after, knowing that in less than 24 hours, we were giving people, their $45 worth. That's how much a ticket costs for these classes. So what we had is we had a chef who was our television chef. So all he did was do TV spots. And he was a rather busy guy because we had all of the Utah networks, ABC4, KSL, Fox 13, and Channel 2. He was doing all those. So I called him up that night and said, Johnny, please, we need you. We need you for, 2 hours this morning. Can you do it? Thankfully, he said yes. Thankfully, he said, you know what? I'll move some of my own stuff around. I'll come in. But you got to get there earlier than me to set it all up so I can just come in and just knock it out. I said, yeah, absolutely. Whatever you need. We just got to get through these couple hours tomorrow morning and do it. All the while, calling our other chef who had left and say, you didn't really mean that, did you? Giving him some time to calm down. I really got 2 phones in my hand at this point saying, please come back to us. And then saying to the other chef, Johnny, please still come with us, And it went off without a hitch. It was great. I got there like 6 in the morning to set this class up. Set the table, set all the pots and pans, buy all the food, have the chef come in, be great. And then he had to go, like I said, so I had to clean up the whole classroom, do all the dishes. I didn't mind. I got it done. We got it done. And I worked it out with the other chef to come talk with our boss, our store director, and work out whatever problems he was having with Nat. He didn't have a problem with me, I just happened to be close to the grenade when it went off, I had to pick up the pieces. So I was able to facilitate that discussion. So after that, I went home, I went to the gym. I go to the gym almost every day. That's what I love to do. I go listen to a lot of podcasts. There are a million you can listen to about, I was into cooking in my internship, so I listen to some about cooking. I'm into sciences, so I listen to some about astronomy. And it's something that you can just not really, focus on in a way, because it's not TV. You don't have to watch and listen. It's just, an audio podcast, so you can kind of close your eyes and you're running on the treadmill or doing the elliptical or something, and before you know it, an hour goes by. And you're fully engaged in what's going on in your head. That's not work. That's not school. It's just somebody talking to you, and you're working out. You're only really thinking about left, right, left, right, left, right. Keep your time up, left, right, left, right, left, right. And afterwards, you're refreshed. You've put in a good workout. And you go take a shower. You feel really good, and that's what I'm saying. Almost every day, 6 days a week, I really try to go to the gym. It just helps me take time away from Instagram, away from Facebook, away from my studies, away from people, and really just wind down, but also better myself physically, which helps your confidence a lot.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, good. Thank you for that. Okay. So, Christopher, if you were going to be a piece of equipment
Hmm.
or clothing or
Mhm.
something tied to the gym, where you like to work
Sure.
out, what would you be and why?
I would be a pair of running shoes.
Okay.
Absolutely. The pair of running shoes that I've had, it's a pair of Mizuno's. My dad bought for me for my 18th birthday
Mhm.
when I was really getting into fitness, when I was really trying to, get over my teenage years, when you're still kind of, like, I don't know what I want to do. High school was weird, I had some fun, but adulthood seems so awful, a job. Running shoes gave me a hobby, something to do, while I was looking for a job or while I had a job. It gave me something to go out and run, go out and do something, that wasn't sit, play video games.
Mhm.
That doesn't
Okay.
really do anything for you. It's fun, sure.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, but really to get out, run, fresh air, running shoes just really became my kind of focus.
Mhm.
But they translated into something more than just running. You know, when you're going up a hill and you're already, you ran miles and you're like, I gotta do this hill now. Ugh. But you do it, you know. Shift into a lower gear and you just crank it up that hill. Same thing can be said for, a work project. Saying, I've been hammering this out for hours, days even, you know. I'm not gonna let my quality suffer now. I'm gonna push through it. I'm just gonna, buckle in, sit down, and just power through it. Same as running. If I can run up this hill, it's a hill. It's huge. I'm sweating. My muscles are aching. That really doesn't compare to a class project or something, but it kind of does. You can kind of visualize it as that hill that you ran the day before.
Mhm.
So you kind of put on your running shoes in class. Say, okay, go. And that's really what they represent to me. And I still have those shoes. They're
Mhm.
great. I take amazing care of them. I love them.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
same could be said for my academic work. I
Mhm.
love it. I push hard at it. I gotta do it.
Mhm.
You know.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Chris, give me some examples that would convince me that you know how to deal with diverse individuals, people from a variety of backgrounds,
Right.
situations, environments, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've talked a lot about my internship, which
Mhm.
obviously has given me a lot of skills and a lot of training in the real world.
Mhm.
But before that, I was a barista.
Okay.
I was a barista for 3 years. Same company, same store, and that's really where I won my award for Associate of the Year. That's really where I distinguished myself above, like I said, thousands of other people. I did that by working with sometimes a frequently rotating cast of characters that I worked with. Being a
Mhm.
barista is kind of one of those sometimes in between, sometimes high turnaround jobs. If you're just looking for a stepping stone, there are those of us who did it because we loved coffee, and it was just great. It was fun. So I worked with all ages, all types of people from religious backgrounds. We had people getting ready to go on a mission who were working with us doing coffee.
Mhm.
Dichotomy right there.
Yes.
Having to deal with issues like that.
Uh-huh.
Having to deal with people who weren't really doing well in the justice system.
Mhm.
Who had some stuff catch up with them sometimes at work.
Mhm.
Gosh, how do you deal with that in front of all these people? I had people with I don't know how to really phrase this, but they had diminished mental capacities. Equal
Mhm.
opportunity employer. If you got the skills for the job, we'll take you. Sometimes people are just a little slow learning, having to deal with that. Um, I've had people just, even thinking back on it now, I just laugh. I mean, any type of person you could ever imagine has worked either for me or with me.
Mhm.
And what it's taught me is that patience. People say patience is a virtue, and you have the patience of a saint. They're not joking around.
Mhm.
People who really exhibit pure patience, conscious patience, are like mentally like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're just strong as heck.
Mhm.
And I think, you can get really heated in the situation working with people who are very different than you, people who don't even share the same vocabulary of work ethic that you do. I mean, just on a fundamental level are different than you.
Mhm.
To just have patience with them. Say right now, yeah, you're being weird. You're messing up real bad. Not because you're bad at it, just because that's just how you do.
Mhm.
To just kind of work with them and be like, okay, that happened. That's fine. Let's just work with that, move on that, learn from that. Never once have I ever raised my voice at somebody, left in anger, as that chef did.
Mhm.
I got mad. Oh yeah. Oh, you bet.
Yeah.
But with people who are different than you, which is everybody on
Mhm.
Earth,
Mhm.
you really just learn. Okay, that happened. You did that. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's work with that. Let me not just blow up at you. Let me just say, okay, why did you do that? How did you do that? Would I have done that? Probably not. Why wouldn't I have done that? Let me tell you why I wouldn't have done that. But really, like I said, patience, keeping a cool head, really gets you through a lot of interesting interactions,
Mhm.
especially in a professional work environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, at this point, Chris, do you have any Christopher? Sorry. Do you have any questions for me?
For the job, I'd really be interested in knowing what the hours would be like for something like this. Is this a 9 to 5, or is this one where, you know, is it 6 days a week, 7 days a week? Is it 4 10-hour days? What in-office commitments are you looking for?
Okay. Well, we like to work as human beings, and not overtax each other. Once in a while, when production is behind, we might call people in and say, "Hey, we need to stay here till 8 o'clock tonight,"
Right.
kind of thing. But then the next day, usually like 8 to 5. It's
Right.
typically the work world schedule, that functions, and we're doing international things too, and
Right.
across timelines, within the nation.
Right.
So we like to function so that we don't turn into zombies and
Yeah.
strange creatures that way. But like I say, back to this, if there's something that is an emergency kind of thing, then we
Sure.
will say that, okay, come stay till 8, yay for you. Tomorrow morning, you don't have to be here till 10.
Right.
We
Right.
compensate that way. But for the most part, let's see, with all that takes place, we feel like we get a lot done.
Sure.
In those hours. 8 to 5 is normal.
Right.
In that sense, and we enjoy that. And then we've instigated, which some corporate things, other businesses, and I know even at a university that I worked at one time, they had a 4-10 schedule. So
Right.
if you wanted to, you could elect to work a week of 10-hour days, and then the next Friday you could have off.
Sure.
So those kinds of things are available too. And of course, we have vacations, holidays. Those types of things are earned after someone has
Of
been
course.
here for a while. But we find that we get a lot done. We know how to work hard, but we also have fun activities. Work hard, play hard,
Right.
that type
Right.
of thing. And it keeps us all functioning to our peak, but not stressed out and drained and feeling like we are donkeys,
Right.
overburdened.
Yeah.
So does that give you an idea?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, we find it a fun work environment, and we can pretty much determine what we want to do.
Sure.
Based on how production, the results of what
Right.
we put out there.
Okay.
So, okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
I think I've done my research.
Yes.
I think I'm pretty good on this position in this company. So
Yes. Okay. Good. Thank you. Well, Christopher, this is as far as we'll go for today then.
Sure.
And we'd like you to come back and interview with a larger group of people, more of the staff, even some customers. We
Right.
like feedback from them that way. And so we are at Wednesday, so it'll probably be into next week.
Sure.
and then we'll make our decision from
Absolutely.
there. But thank you for coming in today.
Oh,
It's been
absolutely.
delightful to talk with you, and
Thank
it was fun meeting you.
Thank you.
Okay.